I've had only one from the current secretary, and that was about a month ago.
And what was the purpose of that meeting?
The purpose of the meeting was to deliver a request from the attorney.
And what was the nature of that request?
The nature of that request was to ask for my resignation.
So Gillian Triggs' testimony has been long and ongoing, with a number of twists and turns in it. To discuss this, I'm joined in the studio by political reporter Julie Doyle, who's been monitoring the hearing. So, Julie, Gillian Triggs made this revelation that she was asked to resign, but was any more detail about the interactions and the conversations, was that forthcoming from her?
Yes, Greg, it certainly was. After that initial revelation about that meeting, she went into much greater detail while she was being questioned by the Labor Senator Penny Wong. Now, she revealed that at that meeting with the Secretary of the Attorney General's Department, this was back on February the 3rd, it was put to her that if she resigned, she would be given a new job, so extra work in some kind of advisory role with the federal government based on her skills as an international lawyer. Now, she took this to mean that she'd be given another position dealing with contemporary legal problems that the government's facing. Now, she says she refused that offer because she has a 5-year term that she says is designed to avoid any kind of political interference. So she said she wouldn't be going anywhere, wouldn't be interested in this offer at all. She also said in the hearing she was shocked and upset that this was put to her, that in her 46 years as a practicing lawyer, she's never had anyone suggest to her that her work's not up to an appropriate standard. So let's hear now some of that exchange that prompted that detail with the Labor Senator Penny Wong.
I want to be very clear because it's a very serious allegation. That that your resignation was sought and it was linked to the offer of some unspecified further work with the Commonwealth.
Yes, there's no doubt in my mind that the two were connected.
Did you explore, or was there any more detail given about what other work would be offered?
No, but I rejected it out of hand. I thought it was a disgraceful proposal.
So that was Gillian Triggs' response to that offer that was put to her. And Julie, a lot of the criticism that's gone towards the Commissioner has been about the timing of the inquiry. What have Liberal senators, I think Ian McDonald from Queensland has been leading the questioning, how have they come at that question or prosecuted their criticism of the Commissioner?
Well, Greg, there's been lots of questions throughout the morning about the precise timing of the decision to hold a full inquiry into children in detention. There's been questions about how the decision was made to go from perhaps just a review, instead becoming a full inquiry. So they really focused on that, and in particular the timing of this, that it was made to hold the inquiry after the coalition came into office. The senators have been saying, why wasn't the decision made when Labor was in power, when the numbers of children in detention were much greater? So that was the bone of contention for the committee chair, Ian McDonald, who did question Gillian Triggs quite aggressively about this matter, and that sparked quite a fiery exchange with Gillian Triggs and with the other committee members as well. We can hear that now.
Yep. I don't know how many times I can give this evidence, but it is a very serious misstatement of our evidence to suggest that we've done nothing.
Okay.
If you'd let me finish, I will be delighted to finish answering your question. And that is, we've handed up to you the 180 or so items of work that we've done in relation to refugee children in detention.
No, that's not my question. I'm sorry, Professor Triggs.
You have said we did nothing. I will not allow that to go.
Let the witness finish her answer.
It is a serious, I'm afraid, misunderstanding.
No, please answer my questions. I'm not interested in your assessment of what happened. My question is, why such an important issue, such as a major...
Point of order. Chair.
Point of order.
With respect, it seems to me that...
What's your point of order?
There's a...
So although you could see him there, the man you haven't heard from so far in these exchanges is the Attorney-General, the man who's at the centre of orchestrating these approaches, apparently. Julie, what did George Brandis have to say about the reasons for making this approach to the Commissioner?
Well, Greg, finally, after a couple of hours, we did hear from George Brandis, and he talked about the fact that he had no ill will towards Gillian Triggs, and he said he was saddened by the fact that he'd come to the conclusion after several months of considering this that he no longer had confidence in Gillian Triggs and in her work as the President of the Human Rights Commission. He said this was based on her previous performance at an estimates hearing last year, and he said it's very important in a role such as the Human Rights Commission that it is not partisan at all. He said he's comfortable with the Commission criticising the government of the day, but it has to maintain the confidence of both sides of politics, and once he'd come to that conclusion that he'd lost her confidence, that was when it was suggested that she should move on. So let's hear from George Brandis now.
After the November estimates, when on any view Professor Triggs gave inconsistent and evasive evidence of the circumstances in which the decision was made to hold the inquiry which we have been discussing, and in particular when Professor Triggs conceded that she had made a decision to hold the inquiry after the 2013 election and had spoken during the caretaker period, quite inappropriately, with two Labor ministers, a fact concealed from the then opposition. I felt that the political impartiality of the Commission had been fatally compromised.
So the Attorney George Brandis there giving his explanation for some of the hubbub surrounding Commissioner Gillian Triggs.